While researching a topic, a student has taken the following notes. The history of women suffragists confirms the difficulty of maintaining unity in social movements. Women's rights and abolition were closely allied before the Civil War, but that old coalition linked gender and race split irrevocably in the 1860s. The dispute was about who had priority, newly freed African American men or white women. Suffragists such as Lucy Stone, Henry Blackwell, and Julia Ward Howe had hoped for universal suffrage, but once the 14th and the 15th Amendments were drafted, they supported ratification despite the exclusion of women. Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton refused to support the amendments, saying that the white women were just as deserving of the vote as the African American men. Now, the student wants to present the contradiction between the ideologies of two factions involved in women's suffrage. Which choice effectively uses information from the notes to accomplish that goal? So first, let's take a look at the goal of the student. The student wants to present the contradiction between the ideologies of the two factions involved in women's suffrage. Let's make a note of it to emphasize the contradiction between the ideologies. So which option emphasizes the contradiction? That should be the right answer. Let's take a look at option A. While one group believed that both African American men and white women must be granted the right to vote, the other did not. Now A is clearly incorrect because in fact both the groups wanted African American men and women to secure the right to vote, right? So the contradiction between the ideologies was that one group confirmed the amendments despite the exclusion of the women from suffrage, whereas the other did not confirm the amendments. So we're just talking about about from that point of view, the conferment of the amendments would be the contradiction, right? Or the supporting of the amendments would be the contradiction. So A is not the right answer. Let's eliminate A. Moving on to option B. Both factions ratified the constitutional amendments that gave African men and white women the right to vote. Now again, B is incorrect because one faction ratified the constitutional amendments whereas the other did not. So we're looking for that answer. So B does not state that. So B can be eliminated. Moving on to option C. While one faction approved of the constitutional amendments, in spite of women being excluded from them, the other did not. Right? So if you look at option C, so option C clearly talks about the contradiction between the two factions of the groups, right? So it clearly says that one group of suffragists, including Lucy Stone, Henry Blackwell, they had hoped for universal suffrage, right? And Julia Ward, right? They approved of the amendments of the Constitution despite the fact that women were not given the right to vote. But on the other hand, you see Susan B. Anthony Elizabeth. So the fifth point here tells you that these people did not support the amendments. Right? They wanted the white women to be awarded the right to vote, not just African American men. So this here, these fourth and the fifth points would clearly talk about the contradiction between the ideologies. That's what option C tells. Let's keep C on hold. Then moving on to option D, you have while one group believed that the white women should have the right to vote, the other did not. Now here option D is clearly incorrect because both the groups believe that white women must be granted to vote. Option D contradicts that, so D can be eliminated. The correct answer should be option C.